All right, now for our spotlight. Boeing, the merger talks that we're seeing with Spirit AeroSystems. What does this mean for the industry? Matt Maley is with us, Managing Director, Chief Market Strategist, Miller Tabak and Company, founder of the Maley Report. Tell us a little bit about the story here, the background. How much was this kind of merger needed? What do you think here of this deal?
Well, it's probably a good move, Nicole, but by Boeing. I mean, they want to bring in some of this production back into, under one roof. Uh, the problem is, of course, that this production has been out from under this roof for 20 years or so. And Dave Calhoun is saying, yeah, that we went too much with the outsourcing thing, so we need to bring it back in. They've had a big change in some of their, in some of the top management on this area. So it does show that they're getting more serious about, tightening up on this whole production issue. The question is, though, of course, is that we've had several management teams not do so well with it. So people, the confidence level is still not real high that they'll be able to achieve this. But at least they're moving in the right direction. So we'll see how the thing plays out over the near term.
Yeah, were you as surprised? American Airlines includes 85 Boeing 737 MAX 10s as part of their order for 260 new aircraft. Thoughts there?
Well, that's good news because United Airlines had just recently moved some orders over to Airbus because they just couldn't get the they weren't sure that they could get the planes in time. And again, this is an issue of confidence right now. I mean, how good is Boeing going to do? I mean, Boeing. 12 years ago or 15 years ago, we talked about banks being too big to fail. Boeing isn't necessarily too big to fail, but they're too important to fail. They're only one of two airline manufacturers in the world, and they're also important to our defense industry. So they're going to survive. But the question is, how well is the stock going to hold up? And is the confidence going to be enough for them to really turn things around? I think they will turn things around. But with so many other stocks doing so well, both in the aerospace defense industry and in the rest of the stock market, people are looking for other areas to put their money.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's worth sort of putting the historical footprint on this story, and that is that Boeing, I mean, first of all, Spirit AeroSystems is a jet fuselage maker, and Boeing actually split off 2 decades ago from this company, and Spirit also was talking about their Ireland plant that actually makes parts for Airbus, right?
Exactly. So that could, throw a little bit of a wrench in the works for any kind of a takeover, because I don't know that Airbus would really want to be getting their fuselages from their biggest and only competitor. So we'd probably have to see some sort of a spin-off or sale of the Airbus business. So we can see what kind of impact that would have on the whole deal. But again, they're trying to do something here to regain, give investors and the flying public more confidence in their planes. Historically, Boeing has been so good in manufacturing, so good in their production. And in the last, obviously, decade, that's not been the case. They're trying to regain that. They still have a ways to go before they can do it. But at least they do have a history, a very long history, many decades long history of being the top in the production area. But they do need to regain that confidence, and this is a move to make sure that happens. But again, but the stock is trading at a very interesting level on a technical basis too. So we got to be careful. Long-term investors, I think, can take solace in this move, but they might want to be looking for better opportunities, better entry points for the stock.
I also wonder how regulators, so we know that so many of the deals have been squashed. Just deals are not something that regulators love to just okay. And just even today, we already expected it, but JetBlue and Spirit really called off airlines, really calling off that deal, right? And people thought that was really going to go forward, and it didn't. In this case, you had Boeing, as I said, spin off Spirit AeroSystems. That was back in 2005. But still, Boeing is still 2/3 of the orders from this company. So how difficult of a hurdle do you think regulators, is this going to be a deal breaker, or maybe they'll say okay on this one?
I'm thinking again. I'm thinking that they will probably be okay with it. Again, they'll have to make some moves, like they do with most takeovers or most mergers. There's some things in antitrust issues that are involved. But there are two things here. Now,
Yeah,
number one is that they can, Boeing just say, hey, listen, this used to be part of our company. This is, so it's, there's not, there's certainly, precedent
right.
for this kind of situation. That's number one. Number two, well, when they're thinking saying, hey, when their argument is we're trying to make things safer for the flying public and for
Sure.
for everything that we do, that's a pretty good selling point too. So I think that
Yeah.
although you're absolutely right, there'll be some pushback. The arguments I think are going to be pretty strong on Boeing's behalf, especially when it comes to that
Yeah.
safety issue. It's hard to really push against that.
Yeah, and just I have to go, but $200 for Boeing here. Buy, sell, hold.
It has to hold $200. That has been a key support level for the stock on a technical basis. If it
All
breaks
right.
below that level and stays below it, I think it could drop to 180 rather quickly. So I'm thinking, I'm right now, I'm saying hold off to buy the stock. Longer term, you'll be okay though.
Okay. Yeah. Matt, great to chat with you. Thank you so much. Matt Maley, Miller
Thanks,
Tabak
Nicole.
and Company. Thank you. And the Maley Report. Thanks.